Hi everybody! So today I have a fun special video that I'm doing for you. In 2014 I had a fall where I tore my MCL in my knee, and this left me basically bedridden for about 3 months, and I couldn't really move it very much, and I was in a lot of pain. This is what inspired me to do my Disney canon review and start up my Disney blog. So I feel really proud of myself that I turned a negative into a positive. At the end of the year, I did my best and worst list, and I hadn't seen all of that many movies because I had been bedridden. I thought it would be fun to kind of revisit my list and give you what I think are my actual top 11 films from 2014. And I have a whole bunch of honorable mentions, some of them which were on that first list. And I do have to say that my worst list has not changed. I still think that Maleficent is the worst movie of 2014. I really hated it. Still, here are the honorable mentions. I have Locke, Grand Budapest Hotel, Life Itself, Big Hero 6, The Book of Life, Train Your Dragon 2, X-Men Days of Future Past, The Imitation Game, Whiplash, Elma, Snowpiercer, and The Box Trolls. Those would all be honorable mentions. My number 11 favorite of 2014 is Captain America 2, Winter Soldier. This was such a great comic book movie. I liked that it was also basically a spy movie. I thought the Winter Soldier was a great villain. I thought the action scenes were super intense and exciting. Number 10 on my list is American Sniper. And this was a gut-wrenching movie. It was a hard movie to watch, but I thought it showed the new way we have war better than I've ever seen before, better than The Hurt Locker. Next up, I'd say Interstellar. And this was a movie that I went into actually with low expectations because I'd heard a lot of people, oh, it's so boring, it's so boring. I didn't think it was boring. I thought it was really emotional, and I had no idea where it was going. I really was completely engrossed in, okay, what's going to happen on this planet, where they're going to go next, where are they just going to evaporate? I mean, I just had no idea, and I thought it was such a well-made, very emotionally engrossing science fiction movie. Next up, I'd say the Lego Movie. I think the Lego Movie was so inventive and creative, did what Wreck-It Ralph I think should have done, where Wreck-It Ralph spent so much time in Sugar Rush and so much time in the army game that I think it loses steam for me, whereas this, there was just so many new characters and new worlds, and I thought it was so funny, and I liked all the performances. It was surprising, and I loved the emotional heft to it with the live action sequence and the idea of a child trying to explain his world to a parent. Next up, I have Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think this was such an entertaining film. To me, it felt almost like a new Star Wars. I know a lot of people said that, but I think it's true. You've got this kind of band of misfits that are out to defeat this villain. I liked, of course, Chris Pratt. I loved the soundtrack, and I liked all the little clues to the universe that you got, and it was just so new and different. I really liked Groot. I really liked the raccoon. Next, I have The Tale of Princess Kaguya. And this was such a stunning animated film. You know, that's my favorite is animated films. This was this watercolor sketch look, and the way that they used the music was so breathtaking. And it took me a while to kind of get into it, but then once I was really engrossed, and every time I've seen it since, I've loved it even more. Next, I have The Good Lie. And this is a movie that not that many people saw. I really love it. I think part of it is because I worked with the Lost Boys of Sudan when I was in college for about a year, and they were wonderful. And this movie gets so many of the small details right about their experience as immigrants. And there's a scene in the movie where they are scared that there's going to be a lion. That actually happened to a friend of mine when she was with the Lost Boys. They were legitimately scared, like, of there being a lion at the park. And so a lot of the stuff that probably people that weren't experienced with them probably thought, oh, they're being maudlin or whatever, actually wasn't. Like, it was real. I just find their optimism with all that they've had to face so moving and so inspiring. And I have The Edge of Tomorrow. And this was, I think, the best video game movie that has ever been made. And it felt like a video game to me, in the sense that you have all of these chances to kind of do it over and game over, and then you start over, and each time you learn a little bit more about the world and the war and the aliens and everything. And I thought it did night photography, and the way they did the cinematography was the best I've ever seen as far as night. Giddy. I liked Tom Cruise in it. I thought he was really good. I liked how you could kind of keep putting the clues together. Emily Blunt is good. It's just a very, very thoughtful, interesting action movie. Next on my list is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And this was a movie that really moved me. I thought it was such a beautiful discussion about peace versus when are you appeasing the enemy by declaring peace, and when do you need to engage in conflict to protect yourself. I was really moved by the scene with Gary Oldman when he is finally able to charge his iPod, and he's finally able to see a picture of his children, and he hasn't seen a picture of his children for who knows how long. And that was really moving to me. I had never really thought about the fact that, like, I hardly have any actual printed photos of anyone. Everything is online right now for me. And if I lost those images, it would be just not only losing them, but then losing the images. That would be almost a double loss. My second favorite movie of 2014 is The Song of the Sea. Stunning, hand-drawn 2D animated film by Tom Moore. It tells the story of Ben, a little boy who has lost his mother, and he is grieving over the loss of his mother. His father is also grieving, and his sister, he feels kind of bitter about his sister because it was the reason why she died. It's all about how this character goes on this journey to help him overcome his grief and to learn to love his sister. And it was so moving, and I just loved it so much. It's creative, it's inventive, it's beautiful, it's heartwarming, it's just gorgeous. His favorite movie of the year was Richard Linklater's Boyhood, and this was an experience. This is not a movie that is made to entertain you. It's a movie that is made to make you think about your life and think about the choices that you've made and think about the small moments and the people that have influenced your life. I loved getting to see this boy grow up and the interactions between him and his parents and his friends and his teachers and all of these little moments. There's a great scene with him in a photography studio and a teacher just trying so hard to get through to him. And I loved that scene. I loved the scene with him and his boss at a salad bar. And it could have just been such a cliched scene, but the way Linklater wrote it, you know, this guy really does actually care about Mason and what's going to happen to him. And it just reminded me of all the little moments of my life. One of the things that I was so moved by in it is that the Ethan Hawke character, he comes back at the very beginning, and he has had time to sort of decide to be committed to his family and be committed to his life. He's been up in Alaska, he's been gone, we don't know exactly how long. He's absorbed the grief of his marriage and family kind of falling apart. He comes back and he's able to kind of make a great life for himself. And the Patricia Arquette character, the mother, she never gets that chance to sort of commit to her life. She's a mom, and that's her priority, and she makes a lot of poor choices, I think, because of that, because she's just surviving day to day. And when it finally gets to the end, when Mason is going off to school, it's an amazing moment where she kind of looks at him, and she says, basically, like, my life is over. And it's true, like everything that she had sacrificed for and everything that she had done had been for him and for her daughter, and it was done. And, you know, he says, I'm not dying. But in a sense, her life was over as far as what she had been living. I just thought that was so moving. And here's a person who didn't have a whole lot of choices, and she just kind of had to do what she had to do. And I think a lot of women can relate to that, and I found it very, very moving. And so I just love it. I think it's an amazing achievement that'll never be mastered. Again, I don't picture anybody else trying to make a movie for 12 years. And I think it's better than a gimmick. I think it'll be one that will be analyzed by film students for years to come because of, like I said, scenes like the scene in the photography room that are just so beautifully done. I think that Boyhood, Song of the Sea, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Edge of Tomorrow, and The Good Lie are my top 5 favorite films that were made in 2014. So I know that you all probably greatly disagree with this list, but put in your comment section below, let me know, and thanks so much. I'll talk to you later. Bye.